All right, so I wrote a column yesterday, Panic in the Year 2024, because a lot of people are panicking on both sides, all right, about if Kamala wins, if Trump wins, they're panic. So I put it in some kind of perspective by saying, look, this country has checks and balances, which is the brilliance of it. And yeah, say Harris wins the presidency, well, if the Republicans keep the House and win the Senate, very possible, she's not going to be able to do very much. All right, so the panic right now is misplaced. You want to panic maybe around Halloween, okay, but not now. So the Senate races are very interesting. As you know, it's 50-50 now. I think it is, or something like that. Bernie Sanders says he's independent, but he votes Democrat, all of that stuff. So West Virginia is going to add a Republican seat. All right, Manchin says he's not running. And the governor, Jim Justice, will win easily in a landslide. So that'll add one team. Montana looks like it's going to flip. Looks like Tester is going to lose in Montana. It's still a long way away, but if I had a bet, I'd bet on this guy, Tim Sheehy. So that's 2 games for the Republicans. There are other close races in Ohio, Michigan, Arizona, Kerry Lake running against Ruben Gallego, but Ms. Lake has not been able to get over the top in that state. And then there are close races in Nevada and Pennsylvania. I think Baldwin is going to win in Wisconsin. She's a Democrat. Joining us now is a guy who studies all this, very fine political scientist. His name is Douglas Bennett, comes to us from Ivins, Utah. He's associate professor of political science at Southern Utah University. So I'm not going to ask you to make a prediction now because too many things are going to happen, as I pointed out in the memo, Professor, particularly the debate. But here's what I want to know from you. Usually the down ticket, the Congress people and the senators, they have a tendency to go with the president who wins, the person who wins the presidency. But this year, I'm not sure that's going to happen. What's your feeling about it?
I think it's likely that the presidential race will have a fairly significant down ballot effect this year, Bill. I think, as you pointed out in the memo, I think Harris has energized the party. I think there's no question that what happened was a coup. They were anxious to get rid of the president. They jettisoned 14 million primary votes and told Democrat primary voters who their candidate was. The candidate is Harris. The good thing about Harris, from their perspective, is that she has stayed out of sight and is now being remade into the candidate that they would like her to be. And I think that will have some down ballot effect, especially in places where Republicans have gotten a little closer. I agree with your analysis of the Trump campaign. I think they're in trouble. And I think to the extent that the president talks about who's better looking or questions Vice President Harris's ethnicity, he's making a big mistake because I think she has a record that is ripe for criticism. He has a record with which most Americans disagree. And I think if the Republican Party can focus on criticizing her, it will have an effect in the Senate races that are close, but right now leaning toward Democrats. I would put Ohio there, for example.
Yeah. Well, what I see is, I see 2 things. Number one, that Harris's support is not broad in the independent precincts. It's an anti-Trump play. All right?
Yes.
So they're voting against Trump, not for Harris. And that Harris herself is weak. She's a very weak candidate. If she was strong, she'd be sitting for interviews. She'd be going out and explaining her philosophy, which she can't explain because now she's backtracking on a lot of it. And if you look at her history, in the Senate, she did nothing for 4 years. And as vice president, she became almost a laughingstock with the border and her approval ratings being in the low 30s. So she is not a strong candidate at all. And they booted her out of the primaries in 2020 because she had no message. Now she's allied herself to the most extreme left in the Democratic Party. So it seems to me that if Trump would refocus and stop with the stuff that doesn't matter, he could zero in on how weak and how radical she is. And that would gain him support in the independent precincts Forget about the Democrats. They're going to support her. And so I see her support, Harris's support, is very thin. And that means the polls could change very fast.
I agree. I think one thing that Trump has failed to articulate is this. In 2020, Democrats chose Biden as an alternative to Sanders, who was regarded as too left-wing for the party. The only senator with a voting record to the left of Sanders is Harris, or was Harris.
It's crazy.
It's crazy. And
right.
It's a point that the Republicans have failed to make. And I think those independents that you speak of and the people who haven't decided don't know that. They don't know Harris's Senate record. And I think it's incumbent upon Trump to make that front and center.
Yeah, I don't know if he's got the precision to do that. He's more interested in the emotion of the game than the tactics of policy. Now, in the Senate races themselves, I have two Republican pickups, all right, in West Virginia and what was the other one I said? Let's see.
Montana.
Montana, thank you. Are the Republican senators in danger of losing any seats?
I haven't seen any that I think the Republicans are going to lose. The map, of course, favors.
I'm glad to hear you. I'm glad to hear you say that because I don't want this progressive crew in the White House. I just think it's a disaster. My personal opinion, but I got to be upfront about it. So you don't see any of the Republican senators being in jeopardy, and both of us agree that it's likely to pick up two. The Senate's likely to pick up two Republicans. That would effectively block a President Harris from doing very much, right?
Yes, although if Vice President Harris does win the presidency, of course, Governor Walz would cast a tie-breaking vote in the Senate.
But it's 52-48.
Right now we've got 48 Democrats, 3 independents, King, Sanders, and Sinema. And if Republicans pick one, we tie, but they could beat us with a vice presidential tiebreaker. If we pick up 2, speaking as a Republican, we hold the majority in the Senate, and the vice president can't nullify the tie.
That is my crystal ball at this point. That even if Trump goes down, that there will be a bulwark. Now, in the House, it's also very, very close. But you can't call those local races. There's just too many of them and too many people doing too many crazy things. But do you have any feeling about the House?
I am more confident that we will take the Senate than I am that we will hold the House.
Now, when you talk about we, are you coming from a Republican point of view here?
Yes, I'm a former Republican House staffer. Before I became a professor, I worked in Washington, and I was counsel to the Republicans in the House of Representatives. So when I say we,
okay.
I mean
I should have identified you as such, but I don't like to do that. I don't want to pigeonhole anybody. Now, Utah will go red across the board, but just to the south, and I've made that border cross many times. Arizona, which you would think would be a red state, that looks like it might turn into a blue situation. What's the difference between Utah and Arizona? Is it ethnicity? Is it Hispanic votes? What is it?
No, demographically, the two states are quite similar. I think in the case of Arizona, and again, this is just me speaking, I think the issue is candidate quality. I don't think Carrie Lake is a particularly strong candidate. I don't think she did herself any favor contesting her gubernatorial loss. And Gallego is not a left-wing Democrat. He's a veteran. He's interestingly enough, he sent a letter out saying that no one in his staff could use the word Latinx. When Latinx was a big word, he said, I'm not going to allow that kind of stuff in this office.
No, but he is soft on the border, Gallego. He's not a border warrior. I mean, he says something.
No, he is, yes.
Right. And that's the big issue in Arizona. And
Yes.
Barry Lake is a big border warrior. Anyway, look, it's a pleasure to talk with you, Professor. You're a good guy, straightforward, and we'll have you back as we get closer. And thank you very much for taking time today. Appreciate it. By now, you have heard me talk about Delta Rescue. They are a fantastic organization that helps rescue animals from the wilderness. You know, I'm a dog lover, so is Leo Grillo, the founder of Delta Rescue. It is his life's mission to provide everlasting care for these once abandoned animals. I myself have donated to Delta Rescue. Do you believe it is part of man's duty to care for dogs and horses, the animals that so much of our history is tied to? If so, please consider making a donation or consult your advisor about leaving a gift in your will or trust. There can be some tax advantages, and it's a great way to help Delta Rescue accomplish their mission. So please visit deltarescue.org to learn more. That's deltarescue.org. All right, so Walz, I wrote a message of the day and said, look, I don't have anything against Governor Walz. I mean, I think he's essentially a politician, but he has not cashed in. He and his wife are kind of middle-class people. He hasn't used his position to enrich himself as Joe Biden did, and many others have. Many others have used their positions to enrich themselves. And Walz hasn't done it. I don't have anything personal against Walz. He is a very far-left guy. His philosophy of governance and of life is so opposite mine, but I don't dislike him for it. I just think he's brutally wrong, and that if elected, he'll do damage to America. I'm upfront about it. All right, so I listened to his speech last night. It was pedestrian. Nobody remembers anything he said. Not particularly important speech, but I chose this soundbite so you could hear it. Go.
If you're a middle-class family or a family trying to get into the middle class, Kamala Harris is going to cut your taxes. If you're getting squeezed by prescription drug prices, Kamala Harris is going to take on Big Pharma. If you're hoping to buy a home, Kamala Harris is going to help make it more affordable. And no matter who you are, Kamala Harris is going to stand up and fight for your freedom to live the life that you want to lead. Because that's what we want for ourselves, and it's what we want for our neighbors.
It's a bunch of hooey. The whole thing is a bunch of nonsense. And really, I'm sorry to denigrate Governor Walz, but it's just nonsense. I'm going to go over it line by line. If you're getting squeezed by prescription drug prices, Kamala Harris is going to take on Big Pharma. No, she's not. Why didn't she take it on in 3.5 years as VP and 4 years in the Senate? That's 7.5 years. She didn't do anything about Big Pharma. She's not going to do anything. She can't do anything. All right? The only way to bring down drug prices is for the federal government to negotiate with the individual drug companies. And Kamala Harris is incapable of doing that. All right? So that's bull right away. And she's not going to cut anybody's taxes. That's just a lie. All right? Now, that's what Walz wants to believe, but so what? Governor, you're not telling the truth. As soon as she tries to raise taxes on corporations, all of that's going to be passed on to the consumer. Okay? Just like the higher prices that Joe Biden stimulated by his massive spending and attack on the fossil fuel industries raised the inflation rate to the highest number in 40 years. Kamala Harris is fine with that. She's not going to give anybody a tax cut. People, if she gets elected, people are paying far more than they're paying now, if you can believe it. That's 2. Okay, 3, buy a home, check the mortgage rates. Okay, they're up like 125% under Biden and Harris. So don't give me that, Governor. That's just bull. All right, I'm getting a little mad now. Okay, he's not going to help make anything more affordable. And then she's going to stand up and fight for your freedom. Baloney. Okay, she's a California Democrat. She wants a huge government to run every part of our lives. That's who she is. That's who she's always been. All right, so that's a speech you should have given, Governor Walz, if you were honest rhetorically, and you're not. Period. Now, Walz debates, Vance on October 1st. It's a CBS debate. Nora O'Donnell, the evening news anchor who was fired, they say, they demoted her. I like Nora. I don't think she got a good deal at CBS. but she'll be one of the moderators. And then Margaret Brennan, very left-wing individual. She does Face the Nation. So two very liberal women. But I think Vance should easily be able to beat Walz in that debate, but I could be wrong. All right. I don't know what they're going to bring. So that's that. Okay. Now, Walz has had two controversies. The military controversy isn't much. All right. Some guys say, oh, well, he resigned because he didn't want to go to Iraq with his National Guard unit, but he had put in his papers long before that assignment was made. So let's be honest about it. So if the Republicans think they're going to get Walz on military, they're not. The other one's a little bit more problematic. He was arrested for DUI, pled it down to reckless driving, lied about it. That's on the record. All right. So be that as it may, you evaluate Walz the way you want to. A bunch of other BS in the news. You need to know about this stuff. This is a group called the Highland Project, and it did a study of black women voters, and it's a bogus study, 705 African-American women. But how do I know it's bogus? Because listen to this, all right? Who is better on the border security issue? 71% of black women say Harris. That's it. Good night. Good night. Hello. That's what I talked to Stephen A. Smith about on Tuesday. Voting skin color. You think these women have analyzed the border issue and are going to say Harris is tougher than Trump? Come on. It's not. So it's supposed garbage. Just admit it. It's a woman of color, and I want a woman of color to be president. Just admit it. Where's Joe? Joe Biden. Oh, 5-day free vacation, staying at a guy's house. Guy is a friend of his, Joe Kiani, Kiani. There they are. They're the buds. Okay, the bros, the free vacation bros. California, Santa Ynez. Nice place. And Joe was there, and they all had a good time. Well, I'm glad they had a good time. No, Joe needs a vacation. And now he'll have a vacation for the rest of his life. Bye, Joe. You're not going to see him around much. All right. Goes back to Delaware on Saturday, if anybody cares, and probably nobody does. Have you ever been buried in debt, piles of overdue bills, threatening phone calls, and it just won't stop? Done with Debt is your way out. They have developed aggressive new strategies to end your debt permanently. Done with Debt tirelessly negotiates with your creditors to lower or even forgive what you owe. And they do it all without bankruptcy or new loans. Done with Debt has unique strategies to get you out of debt faster. But you need to hurry because some debt solutions are time sensitive. Visit donewithdebt.com and talk with one of their debt relief strategists for free. You have nothing to lose except your debt. Go to donewithdebt.com, donewithdebt.com. Hey, O'Reilly here, and you know I'm a proud American. That's why I rely on My Patriot Supply. Their Omega-3 month emergency food kit comes packed with 33 varieties of fillings, delicious foods like creamy rice, old-fashioned Italian spaghetti. It also comes with a bonus protein kit that has diced beef, flavorful chicken, beans, 9 different fruits, and vegetables. This emergency food kit provides 2,500 calories per day to keep you well-fed and ready for anything. It is my duty to protect my family without waiting for handouts. We don't want that in the O'Reilly home. And that starts with food you can depend on to make you independent. So please go to preparelikebill.com right now. Save $300 on your mega 3-month emergency food kit. It ships fast, free. So please go to preparelikebill.com. Save $300 on your kit, preparelikebill.com. The Olympic men's basketball coach, Steve Kerr, who is the coach of the Golden State Warriors, gave a rousing pro-Kamala speech. Roll it.
It's why I'm here tonight. And it's why I'll be getting out every day to help people get out and vote on November 5th and elect Kamala Harris and Tim Walz as the next president and vice president of the United States.
Now, we put in a call to Coach Kerr to come on. I'd like to know why. Now, he lives in San Francisco, so that might be one reason, but I'd like a friendly conversation with the coach. As people said, oh, you're not doing anything now, call back. I don't expect him to be here, but I would be very curious to know why he took his time and went to that convention. Now, before you criticize him, you got to understand that Hulk Hogan and Dana White were at the Republican convention. So these guys are entitled to whatever opinion they want to hold. I don't hold it against them. The FBI has announced that Iran hacked into the Trump campaign, something to do with Roger Stone. I guess they hacked into his computer and Stone is involved with the Trump campaign. Nothing major. Of course, Iran says they didn't do it. FBI says they did do it. Okay. But the more important issue is, you may remember a few weeks ago, all of the pundits on television were saying Iran is going to attack Israel. Iran's going to attack. Iran's going to attack. And there was one skeptic. You're looking at him right here. I said, I don't think so. Roll it. Now, there's a lot of hysteria about Iran's going to attack Israel. Iran's going to do this. Iran's going to do that. I don't report that stuff. I say, I hope it doesn't happen. Obviously, that's trite. Everybody hopes it doesn't happen. Well, not everybody. And I say that it would be bad for Iran if it does. Bad for Iran. And that's why they won't attack, because Iran does not have the military capability of defeating Israel or launching a ground war or launching an air war. They can launch missiles. They can use their proxies, Hezbollah, Hamas, the idiots in the Houthis, but they can't launch an attack. And Netanyahu, believe me, wants Iran to attack Israel because that gives him carte blanche to go in and level the place. First thing that would happen is that Israel would bomb their 4 ports in the Gulf, knocking out all their oil exportation. And the people are not doing well now. Imagine if they didn't have any shipping. And then they go right for the nukes, Israel. Iran's not going to do that. I mean, when I watch this stuff on television, oh, get ready to do it, I just go, my God, there should be an exam given if you want to do commentary on television. Oh, all right. DNC ratings, first night, Monday night. MSNBC, 1. This is great. So if you're a left-wing loon, that's where you go. MSNBC, because there are other loons there. What's the cliche? Birds of a feather? Okay. So they got 4.6 million, and then NBC News, apart from MSNBC, but work for the same company, they got 1.8. They were the last rated NBC News. Okay, second was CNN. They must be shocked over there. They got 3.2 million. That's 5 times as many viewers as they usually get. ABC 2.8. Fox News, fourth, 2.4 million. CBS News, 2. And as I said, NBC News was the last. So total first night, 20 million. All right, watch the Democratic convention. The Republican convention first night was 18 million. Not fairly close. As far as the comparison of 4 years ago for the DNC, about the same, but down about 6 million from when Hillary Clinton ran in 2016. Smart Life, and this is dedicated to you, this segment. So if you have a car and it's not under warranty, and we absolutely recommend our sponsors to get the warranty. You need it. But if you don't, you're going to pay a fortune to get your car fixed. Now, and here are the 5 worst cars to fix. Are we ready, Smart Life people? Ferrari, number 1. So most people don't have that. We don't have to worry about it. Bentley, same thing. These are ultra expensive cars. Porsche, Land Rover. Whoa, Land Rover, very expensive. And Mercedes-Benz is 5th. Of course, I will never, ever buy a Mercedes-Benz because of their association with the Third Reich, and they got away with it. They got away with it, Mercedes. But I know because I wrote Killing the SS. No Mercedes for me. Thank you for watching the No Spin News. To watch the full episode anytime on BillO'Reilly.com, please sign up to become a premium or concierge member. Visit BillO'Reilly.com to sign up and start watching today.